Our speaker is a distinguished guest, and we're honored to have him in our presence. I had the privilege of hosting him here at this mosque about 20 years ago, so we're very happy that he's here. After 20 years, he looks a lot younger. He seems to get younger, and I've aged in those 20 years remarkably. So just give me a minute. I've got to put my glasses on. I'm getting old. It shows my age as well. So just bear with me. Sorry. Okay. Mufti Muhammad ibn Adam is a British-born Islamic scholar. He's a jurist and a researcher, as well as the founder and the head of the globally renowned Darul Ifta in Leicester. He's also a senior teacher at the Jamia al-Quran in Leicester, and he's authored a number of books, including the Islamic Guide to Sexual Relationships and Birth Control. And also, his specialisms also include Islamic finance, and he has advised many global institutions across the world. Born in Leicester, he later went on to graduate from the Darul Uloom in Bury under the tutelage of the late Sheikh Yusuf al-Mutalla, and he also later studied with the renowned scholar Mufti Taqi Usmani in Karachi. His father, Maulana Adam, is a respected senior scholar and one of his many teachers. He also studied under Abdul Razak al-Halabi and Abdul Latif al-Hassani in Syria. Since this morning, he's been teaching since 10 o'clock all of the way to about 5 o'clock on Muslim marriage. He's quite tired, but we'll have, inshallah, about 40 minutes, and then we'll have a 15 to 20-minute question and answer session. So can I please ask our distinguished guest, Maulana Mufti. I think I had the speaker all the way around, so you might have to. You okay?
Yeah.
I'm not used to the speakers.
Yeah, I'm not used to it as well. नहीं शेयर को ठीक है इंशाल्लाह आराम है بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى كل من تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما سبحانك اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وبعد. Respected brothers, and also we have sisters listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, all praises for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah wa shukru lillah. And I would like to thank the organizers of this masjid here, our brother here who just introduced me, who said I was here 20 years ago. I did deliver a talk, I think, 20 years ago. And I think maybe after that once, I'm not too sure, I can't remember. I did once, I think. And our Imam Sahib as well, mashallah. I know them both for a long time. May Allah bless both of them and the rest of the people involved here in the masjid. All of you, thankful to you for coming today, taking out your Sunday evening. Normally Sunday evening, people are preparing for the next day, Monday. Children are going to school. We have holidays in Leicester from tomorrow. I don't know if that's the same here for the children. Is it next week? Okay, so we start 1 week early. Today's topic is a very important topic. And in the next 35-40 minutes, I just want to talk about this topic with some general guidelines for our reminder and for us to understand, inshallah ta'ala. Our deen that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, Islam, Quran, Hadith, the teachings of Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it relates to every aspect of life. From the moment a person is born, there are ahkam till a person dies and after they die. So we have ahkam, laws, rules, regulations relating to childbirth, pregnancy, before birth and after death. During pregnancy and then childbirth, and the rules of and the etiquette ahkam of the childbirth. As soon as a child comes into this dunya, adhan in one ear, iqama in the other one, instilling iman and tawheed in the heart and mind of the Muslim, of the small child. Ahkamul mawdud. There's actually a whole book written, Tuhfatul Mawdud bi Ahkamil Mawlud. Ahkam of the newborn. Likewise, there are ahkam for the mayyit and the deceased. From the beginning of life till the end of life. And in every area of life, Islamic laws are divided into various categories. There's I'm not going to go into this, but there's ibadat, which is worship Allah, salah, sawm, zakat, hajj, etc. But then we have different branches of the laws of Islam. Mu'ashara is a very important branch of Islam. And mu'ashara means laws and rules and etiquettes of marriage, of divorce, of living with others, social etiquettes, social laws. That's a whole branch of Islam. And then you have mu'amalat, financial, commercial matters. One of the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentions that one of the things that will be questioned on Yawm al-Qiyamah will be about our wealth, min ayna iktasabahu, where we acquired it from, how we earned it and how we spent it. In and out, how it came to us and how it left us. So monetary matters, this is a branch of Islam known as mu'amalat. Financial transaction, monetary matters, money matters, money matters and money matters. Money matters, i.e. money issues. And for a lot of people, and of course, money does matter. Money matters. So these money matters, very important branch of the teachings of Islam. Do you know the longest verse in the Quran is not to do with salah, is not to do with tasbih, istighfar. Even these things are very important. Fasting. The longest verse in the Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed is known as Ayatul Mudayana, the verse relating to credit transactions. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha tadayantum bidaynin ila ajalin musamman faktubuh walyaktub baynakum katibun bil adl. O you who believe, when you take a loan transaction, credit transaction, faktubuhu, write it down, make a contract, even if it's £2. Abdullah took £2 from Zayd, Amr, Bakr, will be repaid on this time. وَلْيَكْتُبْ بَيْنَكُمْ كَاتِبٌ بِالْعَدْلِ, and a scribe should write in between them with adl, with justice. وَلَا يَأْبَ كَاتِبٌ أَنْ يَكْتُبْ, and if someone requests you to write it because they can't write it themselves, then don't refuse, write it for them. And the whole verse. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ بَيْنَكُمْ بِالْبَاطِلِ, do not consume each other's wealth unlawfully. Bil-batil, in a haram way. This is a very, very important branch of Islam. A lot of people neglect it. A really, really important branch of Islam is the branch that deals with financial matters, money issues. Books of hadith are filled. You know, when we read books of hadith, and the ulama and people know, students of knowledge know, that we start with tahara, salah, etc. But then you have abwabul buyu'. I recently, had a translation commentary on Sunan of Imam Tirmidhi with all the hadiths and detailed aspect of buyu'. Financial dealings, abwabul buyu', monetary matters. And some of the laws are so important because neglecting them makes our life difficult and the next life difficult. And one of them is related to inheritance. Like one of the issues, for example, of not just inheritance, but generally financial matters, is to make transactions clear. There's a saying, some said it's a hadith, some said it's a saying of a sahabi, some said it's a saying of a tabi'i. Regardless, it's necessary and it's true, it's correct. And based on the spirit of the Quran and Sunnah, it could be as a hadith, it's narrated as a weak, as a hadith. But that doesn't mean the statement is wrong. تَعَاشَرُوا كَالْإِخْوَانِ وَتَعَامَلُوا كَالْأَجَانِبِ. Live like brothers and sisters, but transact like strangers. Live like brothers and sisters, transact like strangers. Now this is a massive problem. You know, if you ask most of the imams and muftis and scholars, I'll tell you out of my own experience, he mentioned Darul Ifta for the past 20 years. What topic do we receive most questions on? 2 topics. Out of 100%, if I give you percentage, maybe 50% issues, people ask for fatwa and answers and for the questions. 50%, what do you think? Divorce. Another 30% is inheritance. There's 20% other issues. Woman matters, money matters. And one of the main issues, just recently, last week, sometimes I say to them, like, wrote to answer back, I said, sorry, I can't help. There's no solution. Because things are not made clear. You have a family, joint family. The father starts the business. One son graduates, joins the business, spends money in the house, or joins the business. In what capacity is he doing the business? Is he employed by the father? Is he voluntarily helping the father? Is he got a share in the business? There's a house. One of the sons pays money to extend the house. The other one pays money. In what capacity? Is it just voluntary? Is it his share? What is it? Nobody. When we say it's family issues, nobody, how can you talk about these things in a family? But then, no problem now, but after 30 years, you might be ready to kill one another. There are cases that people actually shoot one another, kill one another because of money. Now this case, just because I've had this case many times, but just as last week, that's why I remember this. The brother asked me this question, that we are 3 brothers, 1 sister. The father's passed away, he passed away COVID time, rahimahullah. The mother, there was some property in Pakistan, and we don't know this, we don't know that. The property in Pakistan, who owned it? We think the mother, father owned it, but then there was money in their bank account in Pakistan. My mother got the money and she just kept it, gave some brothers something, but I think it was from, it's all I think. Nobody knows anything. 1 penny, 1 inch of land, man akhadha shibran min al-ard. The hadith says, 1 inch of land you take of someone else, there's punishment. طوق الله 70 أرضا يوم القيامة أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Even a small part of someone's wealth we take unlawfully. Things need to be made clear. That's the first very important point with any financial matters. If you've got a house, who owns this house? Make it absolutely clear in this life. Because after we die, we can't tell anyone anything. Make it clear. All these inheritance laws and wills and all of this, that comes afterwards. Start with the basics. Who owns what? You must have heard one of the subcontinent scholars, Shaykh Maulana Mufti Muhammad Shafi' rahimahullah, the author of Ma'arif al-Quran. Before he passed away, he was, like few years or in the last few months of his life, he was bedridden, so they made a room for him downstairs, like, generally people. So his son is my teacher, Shaykh Mufti Taqi Uthmani Hafidhullah. I've heard this from him many times, that he was there, we were sitting in his room, in his gathering, and he asked for some water or milk, and I went and got it from inside the house, from wherever it was kept, water, and I gave it to him. After he drank it, he gave it back to him, said, take it back, the cup, I finished. So they were sitting and he was talking, there was a majlis, so he put the cup down on the table. After 10 minutes, he said, my father saw the table. He said, I told you to take this. Haven't you taken it? He said, yeah, I've just kept it there. Inshallah, when the gathering ends, when you finish talking, I'll take it later. He said, no, now take it. I have written in my will that when my soul leaves this dunya, everything in this room belongs to me. Everything outside this room belongs to your mother. This cup belongs to your mother. This is my will written, clear. And if this cup stays in this room and I die, it will be wrongly attributed to me and there's inheritance in there, whereas there's no inheritance. This is your mother's cup. That's how careful they were. Imam Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah ta'ala wa radi anhu, many of us follow. I think it's related regarding him, as far as I remember, that they went somewhere to see a person who was on his deathbed. As soon as he passed away, the lamp was on, off. You must have heard this incident. People said darkness. He said, well, this light was on with his permission. As soon as a person dies, he doesn't own this light anymore. Ask all inheritance, are we allowed to use this light? People pass away, the man passes away in the house. We have to ask permission of all the inheritors that can we actually come in your house? Even janazah time. People are eating and drinking, and imagine this belongs to, and it doesn't belong to, who does it belong to? There's a lot of delicacy in Islamic matters when it comes to these issues. So even in life, making matters clear, financial transactions made clear. تعاملوا تعاشروا كالإخوان وتعاملوا كالأجانب. Live like brothers and sisters, transact, deal like strangers. You have a business, family business, who owns what capacity? If your son has gone to university, studied, graduated, returned home, his business, sit down, write clear. He is being employed. What are his wages? If he's employed, monthly salary. Or does he have a share? 10% share in the business. Or is it free of charge? Sign. I am helping my father free of charge. Second son, third son, because when you pass away, these sons are going to fight. No, one gets married, taking money out from the business. You took more money out, you took less money out. So just be clear from the beginning. Best way policy saves us problem, hassle in this life is to be clear from the beginning. Absolutely clear. It really, really helps. It gives peace of mind, tranquility, tamanina, no stress. Everything should be clear. The house you live in, if it's husband, wife, if you want, it doesn't matter who paid for it. You can still be jointly. You can just say clearly. You can tell all your children, make them sit down, say, you know what? This house belongs to me and your mother. Tell them all clearly. Make everybody witness, if you want to, that is. If you want to not make it, give it to one of the spouses, then say, this house belongs to me. Because if the house belongs to the husband, he passes away, then there's inheritance in the whole house. The children are not duty bound. They don't have to let the mother stay in the full house. If they say no, they're not sinful. They should do, let the mother stay, but they're not sinful. I remember once an elderly brother came to me. He was writing his will. So we sat down and he was talking about this house issue. He was talking about children. He said, I want to give, okay, I'll mention that in a bit. So this is the first point, so I don't mix it up. The first point is make things all clear. In life, make all of these transactions, ownerships, who owns what, how much, in the family as well, make it clear. That's a really important point. Very, very important point. Because if we don't, later on, things become very muddy, very unclear, complicated. We don't know who owns what. So this is generally with all financial dealings, whether it's inheritance or no inheritance. Just clear, mu'amalat is a very important branch of Islam. Very important branch of Islam. Numerous ahadith and ayat of the Quran of how we earn our money, how we acquire halal tayyib money. Then specifically about inheritance, There are a few points. Now, inheritance is one branch of the mu'amalat, the whole monetary, financial branch. Inheritance, because it's to do with money. Now, a lot of people don't understand. There's so many ayat and ahadith, these are regarding inheritance. Allah says, تِلْكَ حُدُودُ اللَّهِ فَلَا تَعْتَدُوهَا وَمَنْ تِلْكَ حُدُودُ اللَّهِ. These are the limits set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After He mentions all the laws of inheritance, يُوصِيكُمُ اللَّهُ فِي أَوْلَادِكُمْ لِلذَّكَرِ مِثْلُ حَظِّ الْأُنْثَيَيْنِ فَإِنْ كُنَّ نِسَاءً فَوْقَ اثْنَتَيْنِ فَلَهُنَّ ثُلُثَا مَا تَرَكَ وَإِنْ كَانَتْ وَاحِدَةً فَلَهَا النِّصْفُ وَلِأَبَوَيْهِ لِكُلِّ واحد. Who is the Hafiz of the Quran? They say this is a complicated, verses of the Quran, because one third and one this and one that. But it's inheritance, and the point is that from all the fiqh rulings of Islam, inheritance ones are the most straightforward. There's no much differences between Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali. It's very simple, straightforward. And it's a very just system, very just system. There's no time to explain the hikam and the wisdoms behind it and the deeper meanings of this. But the point I'm trying to make here, that we need to understand there's a difference between gift and inheritance. This is what I was saying, the example I was giving. Point number one about inheritance. Lots of people make a massive mistake in not distinguishing. I've explained this to so many people over the phone. There is a massive difference between inheritance and gift. Gift is hadiyah, hiba, hadiyah or hadiyah, Urdu or Arabic. Gift, or any other language, I don't know. French, what do you call it? Sorry? So, gift, what is a gift? Gift is something you give to somebody when? In your lifetime. Okay? If I want to give you a gift of my phone, if I want to, I'm not giving it to you, but if I want to give, this is a gift. There are rules for gift. One of the rules of gift is لا تتم الهبة إلا بالقبول وبالقبض. This is not a hadith, it's a fiqh text I read, but based on Quranic verses and hadith, a hadiyah is not complete until the person does not take, the recipient does not take ownership and doesn't take control and possession over it. Depends what the item is. If it's a house, then if it's a phone you take in your hand. If it's a house, then the property deeds or control or possession, constructive possession, etc., etc. But the recipient takes it. That's a gift. Inheritance is not a gift. Inheritance is what? Inheritance, we're not giving it. If it was up to us, we wouldn't give it to a lot of people. Allah is already fixing who shall get what after we pass away. It's not even ours. It doesn't even belong to us. As soon as the soul, the ruh leaves the body, exactly that moment, everything we own, it's not ours anymore. Khalas, finish. Ownership's gone. So, if we don't own it, how can I say, after I die, this person gets this? I don't own it. Imagine I say, okay, this phone, I'm giving this phone to you. Can I say, I'm giving you this phone? Why not? I don't own it. I have no control and say over this phone. It's his phone. I can't give anyone's item to somebody else. So to say that after I die, this thing gets to this person, it's not, I don't own it. It's got nothing to do with me. I used to have it, not anymore. I used to have it once I was alive, back in the day, once upon a time. This used to belong to me. And because this used to belong to me, Allah kept that much, that because it used to be yours, you have a relationship with it. It used to be yours when you were alive in dunya. Your soul's gone. Because it used to be yours, inshallah will allow you 1/3. You can think about 1/3 what you want to do when it's no longer yours as well, because of your old time sake relationship. 1/3, even though it's not yours, but you can say, after I die, 1/3 to the masjid, to the madrasa, to this charity, to this friend. It could be anyone. It could, as long as there's condition. It can't be for anyone who's already getting from the 2/3. ألا لا وصية لوارث. ألا لا وصية لوارث. There is no wasiyah bequest for someone automatically inheriting. You can't give it to your son, you can't give it to your wife, your husband, your daughter, because they're getting part of the 2/3, which Allah says, I'll give them. It's not yours. So 1/3, you, because it used to be yours, whilst you're alive, you can say that when I die, this wealth, when I will not own it, I will not have it, at that time, 1/3 can be given to this charity, that charity, or even a friend, even a non-Muslim. Even a non-Muslim, you can give it. It's not a problem. You can give it to anyone or anyone who have, except the people who automatically inherit. The immediate family members, you can't give them. But you can make a wasiyah for anybody else, Muslim, non-Muslim, whoever. Family, friend, anybody. It's like a hadiyah, like a gift. I can give to non-Muslim. Can you give a gift to non-Muslim? You can give. I can give a gift to anybody. So that's like a gift of something we don't own, but we used to own. So now the massive mistake that people make is that they don't understand the difference between inheritance and gift. If you want to give someone in your lifetime, now with children, so this brother came to me, I want to give inheritance to my children. I said, give inheritance? Inheritance is after death. You're still alive, you're talking. Are you breathing? Yes. I said, how can you give an inheritance? Inheritance only starts after you die. No, I want to give them in this. I said, that means a gift. Then he said, understood. Okay, gift. I said, yes, you can give gift. Gift whilst you're alive, you can give to your family members. You can give, not a problem. So how much do they get? I said, look, this is not inheritance. It's not inheritance. So no rules of inheritance apply. 1/6 and 1/8 and 1/4, none of that applies. The only thing that applies in gift is the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ittaqullaha fi awladikum wa'dilu bayna wa'dilu." Be just. There was one Sahabi companion who came to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "O Messenger of Allah, I am sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I've given my son a gift. I want you to come and bless it and be a witness to it." So the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Awa kulla waladika nahalta mithlahu?" Have you given all your children similar gift? He said, no. He said, "Fala tushhidni idhan, inni la ushhidu ala jawr." Then I don't be a witness to oppression, injustice. Don't make me a witness. Be just. If you're giving your children in your lifetime gift, people talk about second marriages, third marriages, justice between multiple wives. Exactly the same, justice between multiple children. If you got 3 sons, be just. Sons and daughters between them. Now, if you're giving in your life, inheritance rules don't apply. So now you give your son and daughter exactly the same. Some ulama have said that there is a flexibility of giving 2 to 1, as it would be in inheritance. It's okay, but still more better to give them equal, because it's a gift, it's not inheritance. So if you're giving in your lifetime, it's a gift. You can give to your children in your lifetime. But remember, and this is the brother who came, elderly brother, sitting next to me. We were going through how to make his will, etc. I have 3 sons, I've got 3 properties, I want to give them. I said, yeah, you can give them. But remember, a gift is not complete until they don't take ownership and possession. He said, yeah, I'm giving them in their name, everything changing. So I said, where are you going to live? He says, one of the properties. I said, have they given you permission? No, I'm going to live until. No, make your mind up. Is it a gift or not a gift? I said, look, gift is that you give it to them. If they tell you tomorrow, Dad, out, you have to be out. It's not yours. Can I stay in the house and keep rent until? No. You can't have your cake and eat it at the same time, as they say. You can't be this way. People are, you have to be clear. You can't be here and there. This is the problem. I said, give it to them as a gift. It's theirs, no longer yours. Or don't give it to them. You can't say, I'm giving it to them, but still until I'm alive, I have to live in it. That's not your right. I can't say I'm living in your house. If they allow you, fine, but wholeheartedly, permission. And if they change their mind next week, you have to go. find a rental property. He started scratching his head. Forget it, I'm not giving anybody anything. You can't trust children nowadays. Don't know. They said they can flip like this, who knows? Zamana bigar gaya hai. That's what he said. So I don't know what's going on. We don't know. I trust them, but who knows? So forget it. Same thing with wife as well. Husband, wife, joint ownership. One good way is to say to everybody that, you know what, everything in this house belongs jointly to husband, wife. Alhamdulillah, great. But you have to remember, anyone who dies, and I don't know why now, I know husbands, generally men die earlier, but it's always thought like it's just a man dying always first. Like it's possible the woman dies as well, the wife. It's always we think just the husband dies first. Shall I put in my wife's name? What about the wife thinking that she might die first? That was back in the day when they used to go in the battle and, fi sabilillah. That's when they used to die a lot, the men. So, the house property, if you do jointly, then what's the ruling? That if anyone dies, let's say if the wife dies first, then what will happen? It's easy. 50% will remain in the ownership of the husband. The other 50% will be shared inheritance, and the husband will have his share as well as the children. And if the husband dies first, the wife will keep 50%, and in the other 50% she'll keep her share as well as other people. Then they can divide it. The children can say, mother, no problem, you stay until, no, we don't want it. Alhamdulillah, that's how they should be, it's great. But if anyone wants it, you have to give them that person their share. They're not doing anything wrong. They're not becoming bad people. Somebody wants their share, they want the basic right. It's not disrespectful to parents. You can't make them feel bad and guilty that, astaghfirullah, you're asking, you don't even let your mother stay, it's their right. As long as, if the mother's not earning, etc., and then all the brothers, if they want their right, then of course they have to fulfill the right of the mother and maybe get a rented house or something and help her out, etc., like that. They need to help her out and make sure, because the rights of the mother. From that angle. But this basic inheritance right, if they're demanding it, there's nothing wrong in demanding it. So in life, if someone wants to give a gift, they can give a gift to anyone who they want. Condition is gift is complete by the recipient taking ownership, possession, full control. It becomes theirs and it's theirs. Qabd. And if they don't, then it will be part of the inheritance. Now, part of the inheritance, and I'm not going to go into the rules of inheritance, etc., the shares, etc. When it goes part of the inheritance, as I mentioned, 1/3 we can make wasiyah, bequest. So we can say 1/3 goes to the masjid, etc., like I just mentioned, or who it goes to. And that 1/3 we cannot make. Now, the point is that, a lot of times when they want to write a will, etc., they say, okay, I want to make a will, I want to make an Islamic will, and we should all have a will. In the beginning of Islam, writing a will was fard. كتب عليكم إذا حضر أحدكم الموت إن ترك خيرا الوصية للوالدين والأقربين. It is made fard upon you to write. This was before Allah allotted the shares. It was permissible for you to decide who to give what, how much, but write it down so there's no fights. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed verses that Allah has already fixed for who's getting what. You don't have a right to decide now. So then the obligation of writing will no longer remained. Then it became mustahab. Because you don't have to write, because why? Even if you don't write, the Islam's already fixed. So original ruling is that it's not a fard and wajib and necessary to write a will. However, if we are living in a country or in a place where if we don't write it, then it will be done in an unlawful, un-Islamic way, then because of that it might become necessary. That you have to make sure that it's not done un-Islamically. So Technically, it's not an obligation, but if you fear that your family won't do it Islamically, then we should write a will. And this is why I think Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said in the hadith that no one should pass let 2 nights pass by illa wa wasiyatuhu maktuba indah, except that you should have your wasiyah written. And this is not for just old people. Everyone should have wasiyah. Once you get baligh in your 20s, you should have wasiyah. Wasiyah doesn't mean like you're dying tomorrow. And you could die, who knows? Nowadays, nothing. Someone's 20, they die. Someone's 60, before someone who's 70. Nothing's guaranteed. We should all have something written. It's really important that we have something written, even at a young age. That's why Abdullah ibn Umar, when he heard the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, I did not even let 1 night pass by except وَوَصِيَّتُهُ مَكْتُوبَةٌ تَحْتَ وِسَادَتِي. Under my pillow he used to keep it. His wasiyah. He used to keep it. So, in there you just write. Now, a lot of people ask this wasiyah. When you write this will, last will, testament, whatever you want to call it, it depends on a lot of things. It depends on who you are and how much your estate is and how much you own. And if you just own a few £100, then you can write on a piece of paper. You can write on a tissue if you want, in pencil somewhere. People are more interested in you when you have more money, including the government, including the inland revenue, including the tax people. So it just depends. Technically speaking, you could take a pen, write it on a piece of paper, it's valid. Sign it, date it, it's valid. Basic, will, it's valid. And witness as well, yeah. You don't have to have a sophisticated will. You don't need to go to a solicitor and pay £500. A lot of people make money out of everything nowadays. It's, they come to advice to the imam or the sheikh or the mufti, it's like free of charge. And they go to, 1 hour to the solicitor is £500. The Maulvi is asking, if there's, fees for him, no, astaghfirullah, Maulvi is asking for money and what is this? The same thing, the same advice, the same counseling, the same social advice, the same marriage problem advice, the same talaq advice, 12 o'clock midnight, we are bugging the imams and the ulama, but nobody wants to pay a penny. And people who just do it more professionally, sitting in an office, they're doing the same thing. I've studied in psychology and all of this, counseling and all of this, and it's nothing. We have everything in Deen and Islam. People have mental health issues, and people have the psychological problems and depression and anxiety and OCD and waswas and obsessive compulsive disorder. It's everything in our deen. The imams do more than what you can get professional help. Much more. They just sometimes need someone to listen to, a shoulder to cry on, an ear that listens. There was one counselor or a social advisor who was a non-Muslim. I spoke to him once at length. Now, what are the way you deal with people who come with these psychological problems, depression, anxiety? He said, there's nothing you can do. The main thing we help them is tell them, count your blessings. And this is the whole idea of Islam. I've delivered so many talks in the last 2-3 years, different places, about ni'mah of Allah, counting your blessings, about every part of ni'mah, every part of a blessing of Allah. Our bodies are blessings, food is blessing, drink is blessing. It's good for you mentally, peace, tranquility, happiness, to think about the ni'mah of Allah and thanking of Allah. And this is all in our deen. And books, non-Muslims have written books on this. Count your blessings, count your blessings, count your blessings. Think positively, think positively. So then you'll just go for a one hour counseling and they pay like £200-300. That's like a bayan in the masjid. Honestly, sometimes you get more in the masjid bayan from the imam sahib. People feel good with this spirituality. And they just do it, because it's an appointment and it's just 100, 200, 300 pounds. So that's what I'm saying to you, just save your money. Don't just go anyone, everyone, throw your money like that. A lot of things you can do it yourself. Just speak to someone, and inshallah you will be helped. Likewise, even this will thing, and I don't want to take anyone out of service and business, so excuse me, but sometimes you might need to go to a professional person. Especially if lots involved, you need a legal stamp, etc., then you will need that. But a lot of the times you don't need to. You don't need to. As long as you understand the basic concepts. So if you write on a piece of paper, anything I've written beforehand, I revoke it, and I now write. Now this is the problem, or the misunderstanding, misunderstanding, that people ask that, I'm writing a will, how much who will get what? This is where the problem is. I say Allah has already decided. Because tell me what Allah has decided. Well, Allah has decided, but we don't know yet. Because we don't know when you're dying, who's dying first. Anyone dying before or after makes a massive difference in the whole calculation. No one knows who's going to die, when. You can't sit now and write, my son will get this because your son might die before you. And if he dies before you, what your wife's going to get is different, and what this person, it's all different. So you can't divide and start calculating and distribution in your life. Islamically, you just write that when I pass away, I want at that time my estate to be divided, to be distributed in accordance with the rules of Islam, Sharia. At that time, these are the executors. The executors are very powerful. It's all in their hands. And you appoint those executors who are very powerful, very Islamic mind practicing. You carefully choose who they are. And there are some legal rules that I think executors can be from your family, but witnesses can't. Witnesses have to be non-family. This is legally, not Islamically. Islamically, you can have it even in the family, but from a legal British law perspective, the witnesses have to be someone who's not related to the family, not married in the family, etc., etc. So you appoint good executors. It will be in their hands. At the time when I pass away, they will consult a Mufti or an Imam or a Sheikh of knowledge, and you could just write according to the Quran and Sunnah, according to as explained by the Hanafi school if you want to do that. But as I said, there's not much differences in the various schools. At the time of my death, determine it. And that's it. And that's the will done. Then when we pass away, at that time, not if we pass away, when we pass away. Not if, we are going to all die, of course. So when we die, inshallah, we are going to die. When we go to the graveyard, what's the dua? Assalamu alaikum ya ahl al-qubur, antum as-sabiqun, wa inna insha'Allah bikum lahiqun. One brother said to me, can I stop saying inshallah? Antum as-sabiqun, you have preceded us, we will inshallah join you, we're coming. So he said, I feel, when I say inshallah, I don't want to say inshallah, it's like making me go to my death quickly. Death is inevitable. وَلَوْ كُنْتُمْ فِي بُرُوجٍ مُشَيَّدَةٍ أَيْنَمَا تَكُونُوا يُدْرِككُمُ الْمَوْتِ وَلَوْ كُنْتُمْ فِي بُرُوجٍ مُشَيَّدَةٍ. You can't run away. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تَفِرُّونَ مِنْهُ. Before that, إِنَّ الْمَوْتَ الَّذِي تَفِرُّونَ مِنْهُ. The death you are running away from, فَإِنَّهُ مُلَاقِيكُمْ. It's going to do mulaqat with you. مُلَاقِيكُمْ. It's going to meet you. So when we die, at that time, it will be divided according to who's alive at that time. So it's simple. So this is basically the summary. Like I said, there's lots of other rules. I mean, I don't know if I've missed something. I once wrote a small booklet on this. I thought I'll mention some things, but let me see if there's anything. Okay, some points when a person. Just anything important that I've missed out. Yeah, there's one thing here. It is important for the family afterwards to ensure that they divide their estate according to, Islamic rules. I've talked about the person dying. What about the responsibility of the people alive? If they don't do it in an Islamic way, they are sinful. Massive sin. Now when we say massive sin, if they all agree in a different way, provided there's no force pressure, then it's permissible. You know, this sometimes people don't understand. Look, for example, if someone's passed away, and all the children and, you know, whoever's inheriting, they say, you know what, we're all going to do equal. Everyone happy, no problem. This is not 4 rakat al-dhuhr that you can only pray 4 and not pray 5. You can do it differently. This will mean that each other's giving each other hadiyah for giving. If they all agree, no pressure, no force, nothing on anyone, no psychological, mental, emotional pressure of any sort, complete happiness if they all say that yes, Islam says this, they share, but we're just doing it in different, we all just want to give everybody equal. Everyone's happy, that's fine. Yeah, according to Sharia, it's permissible. It's permissible because Sharia is not saying you have to do it this way. Sharia is saying this is the right. If someone's forgiving their right, like for example, one person says, I don't even want anything. That's permissible. You don't have to take. Someone's being given more because others are giving. So each other are giving hadiyas to each other. This is Sharia saying that if someone demands, this is the right. But if you're giving up your right and giving someone more, then that's permissible. And then also, if the person who passed away, if he wrote an un-Islamic will, then it's necessary that we don't follow that. If he wrote an un-Islamic will, it's haram to follow that legally. And this is why we say, people say, oh, you know, the will, this is we follow the law of the country. We follow the law of the country as long as it does not go against the law of Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we have to follow the Islamic hudud of. And the law of this country doesn't force you to do it in an un-Islamic way. The law of the country allows you to do it however you want. The law is not saying you must, after the husband dies, everything must go to the wife. No, if you want to do it differently, you can do it differently. The law allows you to give it all to your cat and dogs as well. People write their wills and say, you know, my cats and dogs and my, you know, pets and rabbits will take the money. So the law allows everything. So if someone did not write an Islamic will or wrote an Islamic will or didn't write no will or whatever, in every situation the family members afterwards must do it according to Islamic shares, as long as they all want to do it like that. And if they want to do it all collectively agree differently, then that's also fine, because then they're just giving gifts. But here you should be precautious, because we don't know, somebody might be pressured, forced. That's why the ulama say that, look, if you want to, then just give everybody the Islamic share. Then if they want to give someone else, then they give their hadiyah. So if the daughter is saying, no, I don't want it, they might be pressurized, cultural, say, no, this is your share, here, take it. Now if you want to give it to somebody, you give it, just to be sure. Because sometimes somebody out of, you know, just pressure, force, they might just say, no, I don't want it, because of culture. So that's a point. And I think, yeah, I've mentioned this as well. And as you know, that inheritance only starts at the beginning, you know, first funeral expenses are taken out, and then after that, any loans paid to any human beings, any creation of Allah, that has to be paid off, first and foremost. Whether the person makes a will, wasiyah, 1/3 or no. If all the money goes in paying someone's debt off, then everything goes. That's the first thing. If someone has debts, now debts are of two types. Debts payable to Allah, debts payable to human beings. This is only relating to debts payable to human beings. Any loans, any money that has not been paid to other people, that with or without any bequest, whether he wrote a will, he didn't write a will, if you want him to be forgiven, the hadith says, يُغْفَرُ لِلشَّهِيدِ كُلُّ ذَنْبٍ إِلَّا الدَّيْنِ. Even for a martyr, every sin is forgiven except dain, loan. Dain, you know, debts. It's, you know, debts, best not to take too many debts in life. It's not recommended in Sharia. It's permissible, but Islam doesn't encourage a debt-based life. Whereas this capitalist system makes us Even our eyebrows are debts, and our nostrils and everything, every inch of our organ, every breath is debt-based. This is how this system, capitalist system, works. They just really force it upon us, credit card after credit card after credit card. Don't need a credit card. I never had it. I just normal bank card. I've never had it. Then for something, I needed it because I had to get a credit card to buy that thing. So I got it, but then I used it at one time, and since then I've never used it again. Why do I need a credit card? I've got a pay-as-you-go life. I always say, a pay-as-you-go life is a stress-free life. Debt-based is, it gives. That's why the Messenger ﷺ used to make a dua, the famous dua, min al-hammi wa min al-huzni wa min dain. Overcome by dain. Oh Allah, protect me. A lot of people, they become depressed because of these dain worries. What you can afford, buy. If you can't, leave it. If you can't, only take loans if it's really, really needed in exceptional cases. Otherwise, you'll get grey before you get grey. You'll get old before you get old. Less stress. You don't want tension, stress. You mentioned to me, maybe that's the reason. I looked younger than I used to look 20 years ago. I have no debts. I've never, ever taken a loan in my life. Never. Never ever. I think once about £5 from somebody I just needed and paid him back in long time ago. Never taken a loan. There's nobody I owe money to. Alhamdulillah. It's just a simple, straightforward life. What am I going to eat tomorrow? I'll see tomorrow. So, Allahu Alam. But if you need, I know sometimes people need to take loans. So you take a loan, but these loans, they need to be paid regardless. Even if all the money goes, it has to be given. Nothing left for inheritance, nothing left for inheritance. As for debt payable to Allah, what does that mean? Zakat. Even zakat is for poor, but it's a haququllah based. Allah has said give that. Or fidya, salah, unpaid, or hajj, and things like that. That will not be taken out unless the person made the wasiyah and within just that 1/3. So if he wrote that will that 1/3, please do hajj for me, or give this or this, for salah, unpaid salah, and perform salah, fasts, only if he made a will. And if he didn't make a will, then the family all have to agree. And if they don't agree, they're not doing anything wrong. So this is to do with the debts, etc. Yeah, 1/3 is after the loan. So after you pay the loan debts off to human beings, makhluq, ibad, huququl ibad, then after that, whatever's remainder, then after that, money will go if there's a bequest of debts payable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is bequests, and then that's it. Yeah, inshallah. We can end here. I think I've had a look. Now, look, long time ago, sorry, my glasses I need to take off because I can't read with my glasses on. I prepared this last will and testament many, many years ago, about 10 years ago. I don't give it out to everybody because this is a very detailed one. I put about 6-7 wills in front of me. I had a very good friend who was a very high qualified professional solicitor in the country, one of the top, without giving any names. And I got it checked by him. And he said, legally it's fine. But this is just, there's no legal stamp on this. Now, very carefully looking at everything, it's about 8 to 9 pages. And it's not for everybody. And if somebody wants to write this, I have to actually explain to them, to go through it. He needs an hour explanation. So it just says last will and testament, Islamic guidelines to read before completing this will, and there's a few basic points. But so you have the name here, address, revocation, I revoke everything beforehand, appointment of executors and trustees, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And then funeral and burial wishes. And then it's written in my estate. I direct that payment of all my funeral burial expenses be first deducted out of my estate, unless someone voluntarily chooses to pay. And then there's a few things. After payment of above, I bequeath that my executors determine what amount, if any, is due by me in respect of unfulfilled religious obligations, salah, sawm, zakat, etc., and pay such amounts to persons or charities as determined by executors. The total amount under this clause, however, shall not exceed 1/3 of the net value of my estate after payment of funeral expenses. And then here, 5.4, please tick one box only. Now there's two options. In event of any balance remaining out of the 1/3 of the net value of my estate, as mentioned above, I bequeath X amount to be given to charity. And then you've got ABC, who are non-heirs, payment for an MRI scan. Because remember, Islamically, we don't want post-mortems, so payment for an MRI scan. As an alternative to post-mortem if necessary, please tick one. And the second box is, in the event I do not wish to bequeath anything. So choice, do you want to bequeath or not bequeath? Tick one box. And then there's other things here, attestation, and then there's an appendix. List of assets. Please include properties, banks, jewelry, cash in hand, stock, pensions, whatever. Asset 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Write it down. Here as well. List of unfulfilled obligations and debts. How much unperformed salah. So what you do is you write down, because remember, Islamically salah is fard. It's an obligation. And we have to do qada. We have to start the qada. If we pass away and salah is remaining upon us, then there's fidya. Fidya is the same amount of sadaqatul fitr. How much sadaqatul fitr did you have? You had £5. But sometimes with this sadaqatul fitr, we put a bit extra just because, it's charity, etc. And it's only once a year. So you can try to check. It might be less. And then also you can pay it in Pakistan, India, locally there, and there it might be like 50p. Something like that. Yeah, about 50p. If you got so many salah and so many fasting, so give it to the poor there. Each salah, 50p, 40p, like that. So what you do is you write, I have 433 salah left. Each day after you finish your salah, you keep on amending this. This much salah done, this much salah done. If we die in the middle, they'll see how much salah is left. So every night before going to sleep, you do your qada. Every night before going to sleep, change the number of how much salah you've got left. If you don't wake up in the next morning, if you are not born in the next morning after dying at night, Alhamdulillahi alladhi ahyana ba'dama amatana. All thanks to Allah who gave us life after He gave us death. We were sleeping, we were dead. Wa ilayhi nushur. It's a type of death. Sleep is a sister of death. So if you don't wake up in the morning, then people will look, okay, he's got 433 salah left. So they know exactly. Unperformed fasts, unpaid zakat, unfulfilled hajj, other obligations, outstanding debt 4, outstanding debt 2, outstanding debt, who you owe money to. Everything is clear because everyone knows in the family what you've got, basically. So all these things, whether you write it yourself on a piece of paper, just the point is, make it clear. If you have a lot of high-level estate, then you might need the services of qualified solicitor, especially if you've got tax involved, the inheritance tax and the threshold. I don't know what the threshold is now. Inheritance tax, how much is it? 440. So when you're getting to those realms, then you need some professional legal advice where they can try to not avoid it, but there's tax avoidance and there's tax evasion. So you don't do evasion, you do avoidance. There are people who can help you do that. You rather leave that money for your family than give it to Rishi Sunak. Who's the finance budget chairman? Yeah. Just leaving it to the government. You'd rather leave it for your family, inshallah. So if you can avoid that in best ways, and if you've got properties, then do it legally, get professional help, do it in a way that people can't dispute it later on. Inshallah ta'ala, we end with that. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Yeah, we can take a few, inshallah, just a few.
If you've got any questions, please put your hands up and I'll back to your questions. Just 1 second. So
Okay. Yeah.
She's got 4 children, and one of her sons has passed away.
Yeah.
Her husband has passed away, and she's saying that now I'm writing up my will. Do I need to include my grandchildren? She's got grandchildren, and one of her sons has passed away. Yeah, grandchildren, deceased son, and her husband has passed away as well. And she's asking this question, and I think that you've answered it, but it would be helpful you just to clarify that. She's saying that I'm writing up my will. Do I need to include my grandchildren whose father has passed away? What share are they entitled to? And I know that my daughters will get half of my living son's share. Is this the same if they are?
This is what I answered. A lot of people ask this. It's no point sitting and calculating from now. We just write according to Islamic rules. As for the deceased husband, he's passed away. There's no share for him. Someone who passes away before you, that's gone. But your in inheritance, there are cases where the children of your grandchildren of the child who's deceased, passed away, they do receive it. But there's a whole calculation and system in process. So we don't need to include or write anything. We just write it's according to Islamic rules, and this is what generally most Islamic wills people do as well. That I want my estate to be divided, distributed according to the laws of Islam, in accordance with the Quran and Sunnah, in accordance with the Sharia laws, as advised by the Hanafi madhab, the Imam, the Shaykh. You can point like the Masjid and say the Imam and the people of this Masjid. For example, you can just say the Stoke Poach's Masjid, according to them, according to the management Imam there, we'll ask them whatever they say, or the executors will decide, or whatever. And then that's enough, inshallah. And that should just solve everything, inshallah.
So we'll take some questions. We've got approximately 10 minutes. Brother on that side, if you could speak up and speak, record it as well.
Wa alaikum salam.
I was asking a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So, number one, so if after your death, all your inheritance is gone into debt and you still have more debt, do the inheritors inherit debts, or are you? So that's question number one. Number two, especially with the first generation that came over here, it was the husbands that did all the working, but they put the house in the joint name, and like you said, parents is not always there, and there's been lots of disputes saying that the father passed away, and the mother gets money, and I want my share, and she wants her share, and then the mother has got nowhere to kind of go, so it gets very messy, but the deeds are 50-50 in this country, but in reality, the ownership might have been just for the husband, or just for the wife, or whatever else. And then another very good question.
Yeah, I'll forget the first question. Yeah. To answer the first question, the inheritors don't inherit debt. It's not their responsibility. They don't have to. So if all the money goes in paying the debts and there's still more debt, if they want to voluntarily from their side for the parents, forgiveness, then alhamdulillah. If they don't want to, then they don't have to. There's no obligation. Just make dua, Allah, does karam and rahmah on the person. As for the second one, this is an important issue that, Islamically, it's not based on just title deeds. A lot of people put names, title deeds on a property just for tax purposes, for this reason, for that reason. That's not what makes ownership. So sometimes, like once a brother came to me and said, look, I'm not giving my son a gift, but I'm just putting it on his name for some tax reason. Islamically, the house doesn't belong to him. Islamically, if you're giving somebody, then there has to be a clear understanding. Title deeds as well as proper verbal, clear, making witnesses, telling that this no longer belongs to me, this is yours, or I give you half. So the father clearly says to all the children, everybody be witness, half of this house belongs to your mother, even though I gave all the money. It doesn't mean that because only the father gave all the money, the husband, he can't give. You can give hadiah, gift. So even though he only worked and he paid for the full house and purchased everything, but he can say that, okay, half of this I'm giving hadiah to my wife, and tells everybody clearly, not just title deeds, but clearly makes people witness that this house, I am half of it giving as a hadiah to my wife, to your mother. Everyone's clear, right? In writing, everything, title deeds in every way, shape or form, don't leave any ambiguity, it will become half off, 50. Yeah. Yeah, so clarity is very important. Yeah, it is sinful. Unequal gifting, in general case, if no, they're all going to, nobody's going to demand gifts. Beggars can't be choosers. They're not going to say, no. It's like, it's coming something. So generally, in normal cases, a father or a mother, parent being unjust in giving gifts to their children, it is a matter of sin. But remember, we don't have to be too OCD about this as well. Like, look, I gave 1 inch here, and this chocolate was a bit longer here, and you got 3 pieces of chocolates and half it. Then Sharia, it is these small minimal things, it's fine. But generally, like, each time you're giving one son £100, the other one is you're going £2, and so that's wrong. You're giving someone a gift. You gave somebody just a phone, and the other one you gave nothing. Young children, middle-aged children. So generally, it's sinful in normal cases. Now, a lot of times what happens is that we deprive sometimes because you hate, or one did more khidmah. Remember, this gifting is not this is not payment. You're not paying them for khidmah. This son looked after me. So is this wages? Is it a gift or wages? What is it? Gift is something you give without anything in return. Then make it clear, I hired you, son. This is your wages. Then don't say it's gift. Say that because you looked after me, make an agreement, I'm giving you wages. You didn't look after me, your wages are not there. Don't, hide it and call it gift. This is people are not clear. So even if one looked after you or whatever, you have to be just. There are only exceptional cases where sometimes you might, and you need to be very careful, ask a scholar at that time. If, for example, one of them, if you think they've really, really bad, gone off track, is a drug addict, you're going to give them money, he's going to go more in drugs, he might murder someone, he might kill someone, he's alcohol addict, it's really, really bad. So in those individual exceptional cases, if you don't give them money, then that's fine. But it has to be in specific cases. What I just said right now? No, they don't have to declare. If they're just giving salary, yeah, this last bit or the beginning, I was saying that, yeah. You don't have to technically, but if they find out, then it's always good to be clear that, look, this is basically salary. So, normally, Islamic rule is you don't have to tell anyone anything like that. You should know, and it's clear what the ruling is, and you tell the son that this is salary. But because here, others might have aggrievement, etc., so it's good to just inform them. So it's not a gift.
This question goes a lot this Masjid. What's the ruling on Muslims whose parents are non-Muslims?
Now, of course, basic rule is few types of situations where there's no inheritance. Al-Qatilu la yarith. For example, a murderer does not, someone who kills someone, then you don't inherit from the one that you killed. One of the other is that Muslim, non-Muslim don't inherit from one another. However, Muslim, non-Muslim, like now there are a lot of people, especially in this country, who are reverts, converts. So technically speaking, there is no mirath, there's no inheritance. But that's why the 1/3, the bequest, you can include your non-Muslim parent. Remember I said in there that you can give it to Muslim or non-Muslim or anybody. So in that 1/3, because they don't automatically inherit, you could put them in there, that from this 1/3, my non-Muslim, father, mother, son, whoever, they get it. So it's not part of inheritance, but part of the bequest of 1/3, you can give them. Yeah, it's just written, divided, but it's not passed on to them. It's basically managed by the one who is the guardian, legal guardian. So you just manage it as a father or whoever the guardian is, and you use it in their interest, etc. The ahkam, laws of children are separate. It's the wali or the guardian, they managed it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just one final question. So say if the person who's deceased is in Islamic law, but his inheritance is divided Islamically, does the deceased still get the reward for that?
If he did not,
It was done Islamically by Islam.
he did not write an Islamic will. Allahu alam if he gets reward. I mean, maybe based on principles, maybe not. It's, these people, is their rights. This is basically, these laws of inheritance are there not as an act of, giving thawab and reward to everybody. It's more so to avoid disputes and make easy divisions for the people behind. So it's to avoid that. That's the main reason. That's why if they agree on a different alternative distribution, it's permissible. I mentioned that, if they do it alternatively. The sisters can't hear the question, that's why they're probably now, because they can't hear the question. Yeah, go on. I should repeat. Yeah.
If you just mentioned that according to Islamic way, the daughter gets half of what the male child gets. But then out of love and affection, they wanted to make sure the daughter also gets half. And then to bypass that, you just write as a gift, then they will get equal. So can we do that deliberately or vice versa?
The brother is asking here that, the daughters get half of لِلذَّكَرِ مِثْلُ حَظِّ الْأُنْثَيَيْنِ, half of the sons. And there's a lot of hikmah, wisdom behind that, of course. But if somebody can they give a gift, but again, it has to be in lifetime. You can't do it afterwards. In your lifetime, if you want to give a gift to your sons and daughters equally, it's perfectly fine. You give everybody exactly the same share. But we can't change the inheritance. We can't say when I die, you can't give a gift like, that's why in the beginning I said we can't give a gift to something we don't own. So we can't decide how much they're getting after we die. In your life, we own it. And in reality, we don't even own it in this life. Allah owns it. Do you know, Allah says, وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. So really, we are just artificial majaz owners in this life as well. We don't own even our own bodies. We don't even own our own eyes. This is not ours. There's nothing. We don't own nothing. So therefore, just to finish, if you want to give your daughters equal shares to your sons as a gift complete in this life, great. But you can't say after death. Gee.
The hadiyah was written in such a way, conditionally, that this is the reward thing I'm giving until I passed away. That is possible or not? Conditionally.
Condition that this is, that what? That this hadiyah is yours.
Hadiyah was given in such a conditionally that this is thing I'm giving to you, but until I death I will stay here.
No, not allowed. That's not a hadiyah. You can't have hadiyah with conditions. Hadiyah is a hadiyah. You can't have conditions. You can't say, the brother is saying here that if you say that this is yours, but until I die, I live or I use, that's not hadiyah. It's like, you sell someone an item and you say, okay, it's yours, but until every Friday I'll use it. I'll give you my phone. Condition is that every 2 weeks I'll take it. You can't. With hadiyah, with sale, one of the basic principles of Sharia is that once a transaction is done, it should be no strings attached, nothing. Even when you do a sale, if I sell you this phone, there shouldn't be any conditions that every week I will use it. It makes the whole sale invalid. It's actually sinful to put conditions in any sale. So therefore, hadiyah, you can't put conditions. Hadiyah is clean, clear. That's it. Once you give, finish, done. You can't put conditions. Yeah, just last 2-3 minutes. It's nearly 7. It's nearly 8. Yeah.
It's nearly 8 o'clock.
Yeah, we finished by.
We'll take another 2 questions, Brother Nair, and then, if there isn't any other.
You said 1/3 is, on your discussion.
Yeah.
Brother asked about the daughters. Can you actually compensate
Because the hadith says, La wasiyata liwarith, which means you can't make that 1/3 for anyone automatically getting. The daughters are already automatically getting, so you can't compensate that. In that 1/3, you can only give for some people who are not getting automatically anything, like a non-Muslim or like a friend, or like a charity or someone. So nobody from the family.
Similar answer is if your sons, say for example, one of them is not very well off, you want to give him a little bit more. So that doesn't apply.
Yeah. If you want to give them in your life or leave it to afterlife, and See, this is why, all these are similar kind of questions, and alhamdulillah, it's good that people are asking these questions, because they're all similar. If we get the principles clear, then every question can be answered. You've got this is why I just gave principle-based answers. Difference between gift, inheritance, this life, that life, and then every question is answered. So, it's important to be clear with these things. Yeah.
I'll just take one more. I'll give somebody else a chance. If nobody else has a question, then I'll come back to you.
This brother here is nice.
My brothers can be included.
In the 1/3, not anyone who's automatically inheriting. So if you have children, then brothers don't get anything. So, because based on inheritance, if you have children, your siblings don't get anything. So you can put brothers in there.
All right, go.
Basically, so
That's your third question.
being deceased, how quickly does the inheritance have to be distributed?
Okay. Yeah, good question.
5 years.
Yeah.
People are fighting over.
Yeah. As soon as, honestly, it's so important. As soon as. If you look at our salaf from the Sahaba, Tabi'un radiallahu anhum, the great Imams, people say that, you haven't even buried the body and yet you're talking about money. This is not talking about money. This is rights of other people. As soon as possible. First day, second day. As soon as possible. If you can't give everyone everything, at least divide it. In writing everything clear is very important. And I will end with this ayah. Where Allah says, وَتَأْكُلُونَ التُّرَاثَ أَكْلًا لَمَّا وَتُحِبُّونَ الْمَالَ حُبًّا جَمًّا. We hear this. You eat away, consume away mirath, wealth. Aklan lamma, with one gulp. You just eat away people's mirath. And this is because tuhibbun al-mala hubban jamma. You love money too much. May Allah protect us and make it easy for us. Amin. Ya Rabbal Alameen. Wa yakum.
All that you have mentioned into your life, you expect is living in this society, how should we deal it, especially with inherited,
How in.
include inherited laws.
That's a long.
Few words, if it's possible.
We'll conclude it for the moment.
Yeah, inshallah.
It just shows you that our Islamic heritage is deep and it's rich, and we're privileged to have scholars like this in our midst. And it also shows us the importance for us to learn our tradition. Islam is much more diverse and broader than just the 5 pillars of Islam. We need to establish a civilization. We need to establish a way of living where we can conform with the norms and the values of the Sharia in a much more holistic way, which is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I'd like to thank the Mufti for us coming, Sheikh.
Jazakallah khair.
I'd like to remind everybody that we've got the stall at the back as well, and if you'd just like to make a quick dua.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا مولانا محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وعملا متقبلا ورزقا طيبا وحلالا طيبا وشفاء من كل داء اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك منه عبدك ونبيك سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذ منه عبدك ونبيك سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم آمين آمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين